Kate,
All right.
thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome. It looks like we're on the record now. So
You know how I like to keep it very professional. No jokes, no nothing.
no, very serious.
Strictly business only.
Yes.
Yeah. But I
So it
mean,
will be a silent interview starting now.
right.
You're like the Howard Stern of podcasts, everybody.
Oh no, I don't want to be Howard Stern, the
I'm
shock
just,
jock.
yeah, you're the rock jock.
I'm moving to Sirius soon, so that'll be good.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, you can be serious on Sirius then,
Yeah, exactly. On channel like whatever, 5,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mhm. When was the last time you turned on your radio in your car, Kate?
So I recently bought I don't know why I go through auxiliary cables like so fast. Um, just like a minor detail of my life that's actually quite annoying. For some reason, they always break. And I turned the radio on, let's see, yeah, yesterday. And I cannot believe how terrible it is here. I feel like they just play like the same 100 songs again and again and again. And I just think at this point, like the Eagles should have their own radio station. Fleetwood Mac should have their own radio. Like, we get it, guys. It's do your thing, but like leave us alone. Please.
The problem with the radio and the Eagles is that they only play the same couple of songs, and the Eagles have some good hits that are not heard that much,
Yeah, I mean, nothing against them, but every time I turn that thing on, it's like the same Eagles song, the same Fleetwood Mac song. So I think we should all just come together and they should just have their own stations,
Yeah, sure.
Like, just do it, guys.
Right. I remember Jonesy's Jukebox used to have some good stuff on there.
Yeah, that's great, but I think it's only like an hour or two in the middle of the day on like specific day. I don't know. See, I don't really listen to it anymore. If I do, I listen to KXLU, or I think it's KPFK. I don't know. Everything that's like very like low fidelity and like terrible to like fine, that's usually what I listen to. But basically, like, it's rare. And it's not that I'm pretentious, it's just I've heard everything they have to offer, so it's not really interesting anymore.
Yeah. What would you play if you had a radio station?
Probably the Eagles, or I'm here to make money. I don't know. I think a good DJ introduces you to music, and I understand that sells ads or whatever because people are familiar with it. But most people, when they hear good music, like it. So I don't know. If I was a DJ, I would actually try to introduce people to music. Isn't that the point? And that's fun too, to find new music and to like, yeah, be on the hunt for new bands. I think that's what I would do. So specifically, I don't know. I mean, it would fall into the genres I like, but again, like I would push myself to try to introduce people to new music.
Right. And then of course be promoting cars for kids because those kids need your
Yeah,
cars.
of course. And my name starts with a K.
What was your first car, Kate?
My first car actually was it was like a Volvo station wagon, but it was great. But I think I mean, it was like our first family car. It was a great car. Volvos are very reliable. Um, yeah, no complaints. I liked that car. It lasted a while and it felt safe. I've never been like a dangerous driver, and I always like feeling safe. I know it's not really a fun answer, but yeah, that was my first car.
Volvo is a reliable car. I think that the car with the most mileage ever was a Volvo. So
Really?
yeah,
I'm surprised by that. I thought it would be like a Toyota or something.
you would think, right?
File
Um,
that under things I now know.
there you go. I mean, people come here to learn, so you gotta bring
Good.
something to the table. Yeah.
Always.
How many cars have you owned or driven?
Driven?
I
Oh,
mean, driven like
whoa.
maybe you didn't own it, but like you were sharing a car with
Yeah.
somebody else, that kind of thing.
Let's see. Owned four total.
It's a good amount.
Yeah, I have my Vet. I have my Ferrari. Just kidding. Yeah, I love cars. And if I had a garage, I'd probably have more cars that I don't need. But I think growing up in Southern California, car culture was definitely part of my upbringing. And I love cars. I love driving. It's really fun.
Beach Boys loved it too. I think that they had a hand in what was going on around Southern
Oh, yeah.
California's whatever culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With a
very good.
K,
With a K, of course. Beach
of
Boys with a
course.
K. Yes.
Yeah.
When did you get your license? 16, 17?
I got my license at 16. Um, yeah, but I failed the driver's test once because you can make a right turn on a red light. And I didn't stop long enough, and the guy failed me. And I felt like a failure for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, and then I went back, retook it, aced it, and the rest is history.
And that was in LA, correct? That was in
Yeah.
Los
In
Angeles,
Santa Monica, California. That's where I grew up.
West Side.
West Side, that's my home.
People don't really like the West Side, and people who are from the West Side try to get away from it. It seems like.
It's a very, it depends. Like if you embrace the lifestyle that the West Side offers, I think you love it. But to me, it's more suburban. There's not as much culture. And whenever I go back, I think it's very beautiful, but it's boring. But that to other people, that's not the case at all. The beaches over there, you can hike. It's just a different lifestyle. And I think that's what's so great about LA is that each part of it offers a different lifestyle. And I think that's why people, when they move here, get kind of confused because you can kind of do your own thing here. But most cities, it's like obvious, like, oh, this is this part and you do this. But like in LA, it's like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true. So for folks who are trying to move there, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Who cares?
Give your kid a car from some other person that's trying to give their their car away. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. There's no rules.
There's no rules. There's no rules. Now, Kate, the last time that you were on here, I want to
Mm-hmm.
say, I mean, we covered a lot of stuff, your jobs and whatnot,
Oh,
but
yeah.
um, but I don't think Bleed Your Heart Out was out yet. I don't think. I think that it was almost about to be, or it was in the process of.
Yeah. Because I think the last time I was on this was 2021 and I released my album 2022. I can't believe it's been 2 years already.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that long, but it kind of does.
Yeah.
How did you feel when the album finally came out?
I mean, it's so strange because like I very selfishly made that for myself that at that point, like I was ready to let it go. But most of the music I make really, it just stems, it's not selfishness, it's like a self-expression. So I think at that point it's not mine. You know what I mean? So once you let it go, that's it. So I was definitely ready to let it go because I was waiting because of the pandemic. I didn't know when to put it out. So it felt good to release it.
In hindsight, did you feel like you released it at the right time?
I mean, with this, there's never a right answer. And I think what applies to somebody, what works for somebody may not work for you. I never know. I don't think there's a right or wrong time. I think if you were planning to release something in the beginning of the pandemic with all like the touring and everything, like I think that would have been chaotic. But I wasn't planning on releasing anything then. So I'm happy with when we released it because I was able to tour and do the whole support, I guess, cycle for that album.
Good deal. Do you
Yeah.
remember the first time that you played those songs live since the album came out?
The first time, well, I'd gone on tour before that album came out and I was already playing those songs. So, I mean, I do remember the first time I played them was like 2019, spring of 2019.
And then flash forward to what, 2022, when
Yeah.
the album came out. Did those songs feel different?
I think what's strange was that for a couple years, I felt like I was proving myself and nobody knew me. Like the first tour I went on, I only had one song out, so nobody knew what to expect. And I sort of liked that more because I had to prove myself and win people over, which is sort of a different um it's a little different when you're performing. And now that more people know me, I feel like there's an expectation now. And so I've had to kind of adjust to what that is. I mean, you can't really let that get in your head, but it is strange now because I've sort of identified the whole time I've been doing this project as sort of like the underdog, the unknown. I still feel like that. But now that like I'll play a show and like people know the words and I'm like, it's very cool, but like I said, it's like my head needs to like catch up to like the reality of like people know me now, you know? But I think when you've just been like working just kind of for yourself in small rooms writing music and then all of a sudden like you see like a response, I think the healthy thing is to kind of let you catch up to that, you know? Which is still strange for me, but music is so weird anyway that I don't know. It's like the cool thing about it is that it connects you to strangers. And I love that. It's just like, I'm still like, honestly, like every time I play a show and people show up, I'm like surprised. And that's honest. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, cause I would do it alone with my friends. I don't know. It's like a very like, I think what I get from it is very honest and it's for myself. And I'm really happy that it connects to people. But again, like if nobody liked it, I would still do it, you know?
Do these songs feel different now that, I mean, like, again, that they're out and people do know the lyrics? Like, I mean, that obviously blows your mind, but
It's
does
cool. I
it
mean,
feel different?
I think I can sing them better. I can perform them more. I think because like when you first are like learning songs, you get through them because you know the muscle memory is not there. You don't know how to sing them right. You might have even recorded them in the wrong key. So some of the songs like I've adjusted the key to like service the live show better. But now I think it's like you can put more emotion into it because you know them. So I think they're a little bit more lived in now. And so when we perform them, you can put on kind of more of a show.
Because you're more comfortable with it.
Yeah, of course.
Right, right, right. Do you feel like the energy that you're giving out when you're performing is reciprocated from the audience and given back to you? Like that energeticness?
Of course. I mean, I think that you on stage, you have to set the tone for that because being in the audience, it's pretty, I mean, you're part of the performance, but the thing is like you have to feel uninhibited as well. Like audience members participating, I always appreciate because you're part of it. Like a lot of audiences, like not, I mean, not a lot, but some people just go to a show and they want to be more passive and, you know, not seen, but a lot of them want to be part of the show. And so it's fun to have people who are energetic and are excited.
Right, right. You don't just want people staying there like, that was really
Yeah,
good.
I mean, that's that's fine. There's no wrong way. And I'm not judging people who do that because I do that too. It's like sometimes you just like, you know, want to be 100% entertained and that's how you want to enjoy the experience. So, you know, I
Right,
don't
like
think
at an
there's a
Eagles,
wrong way.
yeah, like at an Eagles concert. It's like, come on, play the hits.
Yeah, I mean, I went to an Eagles show, just so you know. I went because I kind of want to see all like, you know, the huge classic bands just to see what the fuss is, you know? And it was perfect, but I'll tell you, I was sitting down the whole goddamn time. Like it was very classy, you know? I got to sit down.
I like a nice sit sometimes at a show.
I feel like I've earned it, you
Yeah,
know? And maybe that's showing my age, but like it's, I mean, not every band, but some bands it's nice to sit down and listen to them.
Right, right, right.
And
And they're not bringing that super energetic vibe.
right. I mean, when they did, I mean, rest in peace, Glenn Fry, but he was like, let's turn this mother out. And then they started the song, and I was like, I was ready, and then I was still sitting down. It's fine. I mean, it's totally fine. I think they're like an immaculate band, and I respect that. But I mean, perfection can be very boring, you know? Like I had two friends talk about get into like a heated argument about Steely Dan recently, like an argument. And one was claiming that Steely Dan's like actually really punk. But then it just, I don't know. I think perfection in music, if that's what you want to strive for, go for it. But I can't really relate to that. Why am
Right.
I talking about Steely Dan? What happened?
No, no,
Where
no, no.
are
This
we?
I was steering it. I was really
Okay.
steering it towards Steely Dan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Dirty Work. That's a good one.
In fact, that's I was at I was at a restaurant and that song came on, and like that chorus is incredible. The lyrics are like darker than you think. That song is amazing. And I'm going on the record saying I like that Steely Dan song. I don't care. That song is a banger. So
Yeah, no,
I think
that
that's all. I think that's all I can give you today. I admitted that. The
no,
end.
really very groundbreaking stuff here. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're finally getting into the nitty gritty of this. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Um,
hard to identify with a band who is like well known for recording the most perfect sounding record or the cleanest. I
yeah,
think,
very clean
yeah,
is
like
a
a
good
lot of, I
adjective.
forget what album it is, but like it's considered the cleanest recorded album of all time.
That's funny.
Okay.
It's
I like,
it's good.
I mean, where do you go from there then? Like,
I don't know, but let me
I,
tell you this. I think that you'd be a great DJ because you're exploring it. You're like, let's go clean. Let's see what
I
this is
mean, I
about. Steely
respect
Dan.
it, but what's the choice there? I don't know. Like, I think it just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say because I don't relate to that. And perfection in some way feels fake to me. And good music to me is real. And I'm not saying they're not real, but like perfection in recording, I don't know. I like that. I don't walk into a recording studio and want to achieve that like ever.
Right, right. You want your touch on it, a human's touch on it. Like it's not, and humans aren't perfect. Yeah.
No, let's fuck that up, you know? No, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a wild thing to strive for, but I'm not in Steely Dan.
Yet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't, oh, yet. Yes.
Would would you open for Steely Dan if they asked you to?
Why not? Stranger things have happened.
That's true. Now, going back to your seeing these legends of music,
Yeah.
who else have you seen on par with like the Eagles, a classic band like that?
See, the problem with this is that I haven't seen that many yet. I still haven't seen the Rolling
You're
Stones.
on your journey. You're on the journey
Yeah,
towards. Okay, yeah, yeah, gotcha.
it's, I want to see like all the staple bands like that because, well, I don't know why. For some reason, whenever they're playing, I'm on tour or like the tickets sell out so fast that it's like impossible. So I'm like, how do you even see these bands anyway?
Right, right, right. I saw that Iggy Pop was playing the other day
I saw
of
him.
this recording. Yeah. Was it
Yeah,
good? Was it really good or
and
decent?
he's the best. And it's so funny how like people like are so divided on him sometimes, but I'm like, what else is Iggy Pop supposed to be doing? He's supposed to be Iggy Pop. Like, he's
Yeah.
incredible. For how old he is, he still puts on such a good show. It's so fun to hear all those songs live. I mean, I think he's one of the best still.
No, yeah, I mean his catalog of music is really good and he really explored sound or he has explored sound.
Right.
Is even I don't know. I haven't listened to the newest albums, but I'm assuming he's still pushing it.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the newest one, but I like the last one he did a lot. Um, it sounds really cool. Like there was a lot of good songs and the arrangements were cool. I thought it was great. And actually what I respect about him quite a lot, and actually I look up to, is that he's a really good collaborator. So when he works with somebody, he really opens himself up to their input. Like you can hear the producer's sound or the songwriter's sound with his vibe, which I think is very cool. Like it doesn't seem like he's like stuck to, I just want to sound like the Stooges forever. You know, I don't know. I feel like that's what he wanted to do. That's great, but it's cool to see him evolve because he still performs like himself, but like his catalog is now so vast, you know?
Right, right. I mean, and night clubbing is nothing like the Stooges at all, which is and that's like one of my favorite songs from
Hmm.
his catalog for sure.
Oh
And it's
yeah, it's such a
yeah,
cool song.
yeah, it's really good. With the is it off the Idiot one?
I think so.
I think with his hands he's like that. Yeah. It's-
Yep.
Which
Um,
was a nod to Bowie, I think. And
mhm.
what was that? Hunky Dory, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I could be wrong about that, but we're just gonna say it's correct. So yeah, that was a nod to David Bowie's Hunky Dory.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. Yeah, I respect him, and I think people kind of don't see him that way. Is that he's evolved so much. He's done a
Yeah.
lot of different sounds, and I love that. I think any artist that like keeps it creatively sharp like that, that's that's what I look up. That I admire that a lot.
Right. And that's why you like the Eagles so much and Steely Dan and these kind of bands.
You know, just pushing those boundaries,
Sure.
y'all. I'm not gonna knock them. I mean, hey, you know, what can I say?
We're knocking them together, Kate. That's what we're doing. Joe Walsh is coming on, so I mean I'll show him this.
Oh, Joe Walsh is like he was brought in to be like the rock and roller.
I think he did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, yeah he turned this mother out, as Glenn Fry said. Those huge bands, I want to experience them all because any artist or musician who's like lasted that long and has a connection to that many people, I definitely am curious to see, because you can listen to something, but when you see it performed, it's very different.
Yeah, it's true.
Hmm.
Have you been surprised at a band playing live and like, oh, this is nothing like the record at all, and it's not polished and it's completely different?
I had that response actually when I saw Interpol. They growing up, like they were on the radio all the time, and I don't know, I never really thought that much about them, but when I saw them live, you could, I don't know, they sounded so good and their songs sounded really good that kind of made me a fan. I was like, whoa, band's great.
Kate, going back to your music,
Hmm.
when you recorded this album and you went down to Mexico City, right? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Hmm.
Yeah. And there's I just want to tell the folks at home there's a great little documentary about that kind of a little bit of that recording process. It's really good. It's on your YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like I felt like that was an important part of this release because it was an important moment for me. And like it's one of those things that I put out and I instantly was like, oh my God, like what have I done? Because it felt very revealing, but fuck it. Like if you're telling the truth and you're trying to connect to people, I think you gotta feel that a little bit because you're sharing a part of yourself, you know. Um, so I think that's actually kind of a healthy thing to feel sometimes, where you're like, oh God, I'm being really honest right now. And I was so nervous to put that out. But actually, I've had like such a positive response from that I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it's really cool. And go check it out. That'll be links below of whatever you're listening to this or watching this on. Really, really cool stuff. But yeah,
Thanks.
it seemed like from an outside perspective that it was a huge like a leap. I mean, of course, it's a huge leap for you to do this album, and like, hey,
Right.
this is me, this is my solo work, this is what I'm about. But also, I mean, like in location wise, I mean, had you done anything like that before?
No, it was like one of those things where like, I don't know. I think sometimes in life you get inspired by, I don't know, you just want to do something that sounds or seems out of character or like outrageous, and you stop caring and you just let yourself do it. And I think I was at the point where I just needed to do that, you know?
And that
It-
was expressed in the doc. I mean, like that's how you felt in that moment, or whenever you did the voiceover for that, you know, the
oh
little
yeah.
documentary thing. So that
And
that
I
sentiment
feel,
was there since from the beginning.
yeah, and like I feel like whenever things start to feel stale, it's because I'm not facing a fear or trying something that absolutely scares me. And I think that that's kind of what keeps things fresh as an artist, like really pushing yourself and kind of like not judging yourself for wanting to do something or expressing something, because all you can do is tell the truth and be yourself. And I think living and life conditions you to kind of like hide that, or like, sometimes it's not appropriate, but if you're an artist, I think you have to be really honest. And it's hard because sometimes it's embarrassing or ugly, but you have to express how you feel.
Do you think that you would have gotten a different result if you had recorded it in Los Angeles or anywhere else besides Mexico City?
Yes. Um, I think it depends on where you're at with the project, or for all I can, with me, like I needed to just be completely removed from my life. And there was no distraction. So that's all I did, was write, record, and just I was in a completely different space. And that lent itself to kind of allowing myself to feel free. And I don't think I've allowed myself, I don't know. I think up until that point, I was very inhibited, very afraid, and who knows why. And then I seriously, like one day I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know? And sometimes a change of location helps, Some people dye their hair, some people have a midlife crisis, but I just needed to get out of town for a little bit, or reset.
And I mean, that seemed to be the perfect place to do so.
It was, it felt
How
like it.
Yeah, how long were you down there for in
Like
total?
4 months, but like on and off
Whoa,
too. Cause like even after that, it was like on and off. But I don't know, it didn't feel that crazy at the time. But like now I'm like, okay,
4 months. That's a good amount of time.
yeah, definitely. But it was great. And
I
that's
feel
why I wanted to like document that time, because even if you don't know my music or care about music, I think that, I don't know, just following what you feel is really hard to do. And I want to inspire that in people.
who do you think inspired that in you?
Honestly, a lot of it was Iggy Pop. Um, I watched this documentary, whatever documentary came out about him a couple of years ago, and there was just something in that documentary that like connected to me and just kind of made me feel unafraid. Actually, I don't think I've ever even admitted this, because I thought about that myself as to like what started this like evolution. But it was watching that and just seeing how fearless that guy is, and like consistent. And he's been through a lot, but like, man, he's still doing it. And I really respect that, and he's a solo artist. I mean, he's had a band, I think Stooges, obviously, but I think being a solo artist is kind of a different type of musician, because it's your name out there. There's nothing really to hide behind. And I wanted that. So like I never thought I would become a solo artist. But after watching that, I was like, well, I think I have to, because it's like naming it something else just didn't feel real. So you can't hide behind anything. So I was like, oh God, do I have the guts to do it? And I did it. And then sort of everything kind of followed that.
Wow. Is this as open as you could possibly be at this point? Or I mean, and through this process that you're in currently?
Sure. I mean, I think I tell honesty through my lyrics and stuff, but I also love storytelling through like music videos and visuals. So I think even through that, there's like, I like surrealism, and I don't know, I like playing with different imagery, but that's also just the way I think. So it's definitely revealing in that sense. And I feel like that's my like artistic expression is, honesty through my lyrics, and then sort of just showing the world the way I think, because I don't know, I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to do that. And it's really fun to express myself visually, sonically. It's like the whole thing. It's like, this is why music is so crazy to me. It's like, there's so many aspects of it that you can express yourself, that it's amazing. And it's so much fun to me because there's so much opportunity to be creative. I feel like I'm not really hiding who I am. Like, I'm very silly. I like to be funny. I like humor a lot. And I think at first people didn't understand that. But if you know me and meet me, like I joke around a lot. But yeah, I think that's definitely part of my work. I forget what you asked me, but
Because you're a fucking jokester in your mind's.
well,
Anyways,
yeah, that's like, yeah, that's just how I grew up. I grew up joshing around,
yeah, West Side stuff. I get it. I understand.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
I come
yes.
from a big family, so you kind of, to hold your own, you had to keep up. And my family's very funny, so it was like dinner table was like you just got roasted, and like you would roast everybody, and like that's kind of where you kind of like had to learn to kind of,
You got to get your chops up.
yes, and that is still the most brutal hang, because everybody's just like I said, just like, woo. You cannot have you have to have thick skin to make it through,
Right, right.
Yeah.
Were you a family around the dinner table kind of family, not in front of the TV or nothing?
Yeah, definitely dinner table. Like
Dinner
that
table.
was a big part of our family dynamic. I mean, we
Okay.
fought there, like there was fighting and joking, but like, yeah, very good memories of that. But like, you're never cool in front of your family. Like, good luck.
No way.
Like any sentence that starts with Kate, I'm like, triggered. I
Okay,
mean,
listen, no, I almost did a spit take. Ooh, that'd have been good. That'd have been good
yeah,
content.
I mean, there's just some funny stuff that happened at, you know, family dinner tables of the past.
Sure, sure. I used to eat dinner at the dinner table. Now,
Yeah,
not so much.
I enjoy it.
Um,
It's nice to not, it's nice to have like a formal place to eat. And um we have a dining room table, and I always make sure to have one because I think, I don't know, it feels nice because you talk to each other. It's something I enjoy.
I enjoy conversating with other people.
I do, and it's like I often have people over. We have people over for dinner because it's nice. It's nice to slow down, not to be in front of a screen. But let me tell
Um,
you a story of my childhood.
please.
Nobody in PE, I was very bad at basketball, and I kind of didn't care. And so every time I would get on the court, not joking, I would try to make a 3-pointer because I was like, well, everybody loves you when you make it. And I never made it. And then I was like, why does nobody want to ever choose me for the team? You know, all for
Sure.
the glory of that 3-pointer
Right.
that I never made.
But you play basketball regularly now, right?
I mean, don't I seem like a jock?
Right. I know that we had to push this back a little bit because you were wrapping up your game. And I thought
Yeah.
immediately, because you didn't say basketball game, but I thought, yeah, basketball game for sure.
Yeah, I was shooting hoops,
Hmm? Yeah, yeah.
shooting those hoops.
Of course.
Yep. Now I'm for some reason I mean, not that good at basketball. I'm good at soccer, but not basketball.
Soccer is really fun. And then if you're just even messing around with the ball, you're like, gosh dang. I mean, like, because how long is a soccer match,
Game
I guess?
like an hour, I think.
It's like an hour or like 30 minutes and then 30 minutes. Because there's like a little bit of a half and then they switch sides, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, running up and down that field for an hour. Ooh,
hmm It's fun though. I mean, I grew up playing soccer, so I enjoyed it. I don't play it
that
ever
explains the
now.
basketball thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that wasn't your sport. It was soccer. Okay.
yeah. But I
Got it.
was not very good at it.
Still though, you're out there getting the cardio in. I mean, but
Yeah,
to run up and down a field like that, like, oh man.
yeah. On like on grass, it's difficult.
Mhm. Turf maybe, perhaps would be better.
Yeah, AstroTurf would probably be better because it's more. There's a little. It's more even.
Mhm. Right. It's all the same.
Yeah,
When was the last time you kicked the soccer ball? Roughly.
probably a few years ago. I mean, every once in a while, one rolls around, but I mean, it's not a hobby anymore.
Right.
Sadly,
It's a lifestyle. I understand.
it's it's a lifestyle. Yes,
FIFA. I get it.
FIFA. Mm-hmm.
It just came back around
Yeah,
last year, this last year.
really?
Yeah, in Qatar, you know, you saw it. You were watching.
I was.
Maybe you were watching outside. You go, oh, look at him. Yeah.
Let them kick those balls around, you know?
If somebody kicked the ball to you, let's say today, you walked outside and there's some kids playing with the ball.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could direct the ball exactly where you need it or wanted it to go? Do you think that you
Yes.
have that? Okay, all right, okay.
I am very good at yes. I think people are surprised because I played for a really long time, so I can still do all like the moves. The little kids would be so impressed
When did you
if
stop
they
playing soccer? Was this a teen thing or
when I decided to be an artist, basically. I was like, you can't do both. What the hell is this?
did you play it in high school?
Yeah, and it honestly like there is truth to that, but basically like I was really good and I played like club like in the club division.
Hmm.
So we like every weekend we would go to tournaments. And then like 10th grade or 11th grade, honestly, like the teams became so tough and the girls were so like physically bigger than me that like I would get the shit kicked out of me. Like I can hold my own, but this was like, oh man, I this is like now becoming out of my league, you know? And I didn't want to go to college and play soccer. I could have, but I mean, no. I didn't really want to do it anymore. So I stopped.
And you started art.
I mean, I always have been an artist, but I think it just that appealed to me more
Yeah, I
to
mean,
be
but
sad in a room by myself, you know. Just kidding. That was natural. I'm kidding. Right? Right, guys?
no, okay, that's great that you're coming from an athletic background. So your
Yeah.
soccer life, yeah,
I mean, I
at heart.
still am pretty athletic. Like I run almost every day. I run on tour, which is always very funny because I really like every morning I will run because I can't sit in a van that long. Like it hurts your body. So like while everybody else is like hungover and like waiting till the last second to like wake up, I wake up really early and go on a run.
Do you think that that helps you with just staying loose? Do you think and staying
I
like
think
focused while on tour?
it's really I think I get sick less. I feel better. It's really for my mind. When I found running, like when I was young, I would go into like depression spells and, you know, feel like the physical symptoms of depression. So when I started running, that like really helped me kind of cope with that. It's like, when you're going to therapy, like they tell you like, oh, you got to find tools to like help yourself, and that was like a big thing was, physical exercise. And it's funny because like even now, like if something's on my mind and it's bothering me, if I go for a run, usually by the end, I'll have some sort of resolution or it won't matter anymore. I love it. I recommend it to anybody who needs another tool to feel good.
Are you running like in your neighborhood? Like when you're at home, obviously, are you running on
Yeah,
concrete or do you go to a park to run around or
concrete. I mean, a lot of people like say it's like really bad for your knees,
Mhm.
but I haven't had an issue with that. It's not for everybody because I do think it causes like some problems down the road, but I don't know. I guess like you're supposed to like switch out your running shoes every 6 months. I do that. So I don't know. There hasn't been any problems yet. Although there are times where I'm like scared of dogs, so I always run with mace. Seriously, like there's like in my neighborhood, there's like certain houses that have these like horrifying dogs, and I always like go around that house. You just know where they are and just avoid them.
It only takes one encounter and then you know where the dogs are.
Oh yeah. Because
Sure.
when I was young, I was bit on the leg by a Doberman, and like I love dogs, but like I'm also still kind of scared of dogs because I don't like uh, this dog just bit me for no reason. I was like, "Hey dog, I thought we were friends. Dog, you know me." And I got up, and this fucking dog just like bit my leg.
Yeah, I feel like people are much too comfortable with a random dog in their life.
Yeah,
It's like that's still a dog, you know.
and it can bite you. And I mean, I always like if I see a dog that seems friendly, I put my hand out to see. But yeah, there's still a little bit of fear for sure.
That's good though. That's good that it's
Yeah, I mean,
there.
yeah, I'm not gonna like go up to a mastiff and like put my face in it and no.
Yeah. Some people are comfortable with that. The only person who could do that, the only person I'll give a pass to, obviously Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin could do
Yeah,
whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
yeah. RIP.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
His energy, you could tell, was like super cool.
Yeah.
He's
I
just
mean, he
super
seemed like a
enthusiastic, nice.
nice guy, enjoyed what he did and tried to, you know, make people excited about what he was excited about.
His passion that was driving him.
Yes, a
Is it
lot of it.
is it passion that's driving you right now, Kate?
Yeah, I
Do you
mean
see, do you
it's
see how I flipped that? That was a really good transition.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
that was like a shock jock move right there. Professional. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think like with anything, it's a labor of love, and sometimes it's difficult and sometimes it's amazing. But I think it's kind of knowing that there's a lot of ups and downs in this. And like I said before, what works for somebody may not work for you. So, like, you really have to be okay with making a million decisions all the time and kind of feeling like you're never making the right one because who knows?
Right. Looking back on it, since whatever you define as like the start of this
Hmm.
project,
Yeah.
were there some decision that you would make differently, or you'd make a different decision on things in hindsight now, or do you think that everything was made correctly, or not?
I mean, it's hard to say because I feel content. I mean, there's nothing that like stands out right now. Maybe it's like not working with certain people or I don't know. It's hard. Yeah, like I said, because I feel content, it's hard to say. Who knows?
I do. Let me tell you, you did the correct thing.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I just thought that you should know since it's you. You know,
Well, I appreciate it.
you're welcome. I appreciate making the right decisions. Um, is there a specific song that that gets elicits a stronger reaction than others when you're playing live?
it depends on where you're playing, I guess, but um like as I mean, each one you kind of get a different response. So honestly, that kind of just changes depending on the audience. Like there's not one where you're like, all right, I'm gonna do this and this is gonna happen. It's pretty unpredictable. I think what surprises me though is that when people respond to the slower songs, which we don't play that many, but when they get into that, I'm surprised by that because to me it's like I like going to a rock show and it's like high energy, and then sometimes when we come to the slower songs in the set, I'm like, ah. But when people respond to that, it feels really good because it's like, you feel like it's more vulnerable. So that is surprising to me. Yes.
Right, right. Uh, Now going to the album, the Bleed Your Heart Out album, there's
Yeah.
10 songs, right? And there's 7 music videos.
Yes. Is there?
I think there's 7. I
Oh
think I
my God,
counted
that's
7.
a
I might
lot.
I might have that wrong,
Oh my God.
but it's good.
That stresses me out for some reason.
You need that visual. It's already out there. It's out
No,
there.
no, I know. I think
But
it's,
check it out.
yeah.
How did you decide what videos were or what songs were going to get video accompaniments to them?
Uh, because when I write, I'm very visual. So like before honestly, like the chorus will kind of dictate the world of the song. And so that's just the way I write. You're telling a story. And so the video is like the final piece of the song to me because you can express what you were writing, and that's why, again, music is like so crazy because you get to have all these different creative components for something. So to me, it's like the songs that had like the strongest visual, um, while I was writing, those kind of became the videos.
What was
Not
the
kind
first?
of, they became the video.
Kind of a little bit.
Yeah, kind of,
Yeah,
just vaguely, a little bit.
what was the
Slow to upload,
sorry.
whatever that means. Jeez.
Um what was the first song to get a video, or the first one
Channel
that you
0.
made? Channel Zero.
Yeah.
Did you in that was a single? That was the single from the album, the first one?
That was the single. So I did an EP of 4 songs from the album, and so that was the first single. That was the first song I put out.
That's what was out when we did our
Yeah, that
first
was the
one.
only thing.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
So Channel Zero was the first.
that was the first one, and that was just pretty simple. I was still kind of like figuring out what I wanted this to be, and I've always enjoyed making music videos, so that was fun.
How long did it figure out, or did it take you to figure out what you wanted it to be? What you wanted this idea to be, what this group, the project?
It's funny because I think actually the pandemic kind of lent itself to my creative process because everything slowed down and you couldn't play shows. So I like making music videos. I'm resourceful. I know how to do like a lot of editing stuff and After Effects stuff. So like all this downtime, I was able to make a lot of videos. So I think that's kind of like that kind of set a weird tone for this, which was whatever it is now. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, in the last couple of years, it kind of became what it is, if that answers your question.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Kate.
Okay. All right.
I'm right there.
Fab.
Um, yeah, and you worked with Brendan Welches on
Yeah.
this,
Hmm.
and he is now your husband. And you had mentioned on that in the documentary that you guys were corresponding, and he was down there during the time of you, or like he was living down there during the time of you going down there to record the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Did you know that he was going to be a big part of this album going down there, and the
I
project in
mean,
general moving forward?
no, No, because at that point I had worked with a few different people and I wasn't committing to anything. So I said if somebody showed interest in working with me and I liked what they had done, I was searching at that point, and no, there was nothing was defined yet. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, and this still goes. Like if I meet somebody and there's like a creative click, I mean, I still look for that. That's like the most exciting thing for me, like Iggy Pop does, like he finds different collaborators and he makes music with them. And
Right.
I look up to that, and I love that. I love collaborating and making music with all types of people.
When did Brandon kind of come into the fold of like, hey, why don't you come play on tour as well?
Well, that was because I mean, he plays with me when he can. He has his own band, Crocodiles. And so now
By
they're
the way,
starting to
coming out with a
tour.
new album. I don't know if it's out yet,
Oh,
but
it's out. Yeah,
yeah. Yes.
great.
Sorry. Yeah, it's out, and go fucking buy it. Lollipop Records.
Yes, he will come on tour with me if he's not on tour with his band. So yeah, it's fun to tour together.
Yeah. What is it like making music with your spouse?
I mean, it's great. We just have such a good um collaborative relationship that it's like, I don't know, it doesn't feel strange because he has such good taste in music and I do too. Duh. No, I'm just kidding. Like it's just fun because a lot of, I don't know, he just brings a lot to the table musically. And I love the way he thinks about music. And it's sort of hard to find people who like music still. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of musicians, like once they start making music, stop listening to music and like participating in music in I've always found that strange. Like a lot of musicians I know don't go to shows. They don't really listen to music. I don't know if you've experienced that before, but it's a strange thing that happens. I don't know why, but I don't relate to that really. And that's one thing I really like about Brandon is that he loves music. So there's so much knowledge and influence that he brings.
Whenever he came into the project, did you guys feel like you guys were on the same wavelength as far as like,
Definitely,
oh, you understand what I'm trying to do, and I understand what you're bringing to this, and what you're trying to do with what I'm telling you?
yeah,
If that
because I
fucking
think it's
makes sense, that was a whole.
no, it completely makes sense because at that point I was defining what the hell this was going to be. Because honestly, like in the beginning, I mean, there's so many genres and things you can be, and that I like. So I was like, well, I don't know what I want this to be. And so there were some songs I wrote with different people that were like way more post punk. Again, I love that, but I'm like, man, if you can't see your name on it, I couldn't go forward. And they're good songs, do not get me wrong, but like it didn't feel like me. So like I think throughout this process, like it helped me like find myself and my voice. And that was just through a lot of trial and error. And so with him, he helped me kind of crystallize that what I'm sorry, what that is and was like what it was going to be. And I think that's also a sign of a good producer is somebody that can kind of see something in you and bring it out, even if even if you don't see it in the moment. Because like I feel like I was a very different person when I started this because I was searching. I didn't know. I didn't have a voice. I didn't know what it was going to be. And so that album is kind of the discovery. And he definitely helped pull that out because I was still searching.
That's
But it was
awesome.
there. I couldn't see it yet.
Right. It wasn't as clear. You were too far deep in the forest to see where you're at, or however
Yeah,
the
and I
fuck
think
that thing goes.
no, and it's true. I mean, think about how many things you could present to the world, but then like distilling it to something very clear and specific is, I mean, for me, it was difficult. It took my whole life, honestly. So
Mhm. Has this been a success for you in looking at it now? Looking at it from where you are? Have you gotten everything that you wanted out of this project thus far?
I mean, success is funny because to me, success, like I said, is being able to continue to be creative, continue to play shows, you know, how you want to do it. And so, in that respect, I feel like I'm still earning that, and I feel content that things keep going, and so I feel content. I think success makes it seem like there's some sort of like finish line, but I don't think there is necessarily. Like most like creative people I know, you're always striving for the next thing, like you're always reaching for some new goal. And like I am like that too, but there are moments where I like stop and like take stock of everything and like, realize like I've worked really hard and things have happened that I just never thought would happen. And I think that's also what's cool about music is like you never know. But I have a
The
lot of
unpredictable kind of
totally
aspect of it, which is a lot of what it is. And especially from doing this podcast, it seems like, oh yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously no fucking blueprint of how to do it, but it's definitely
no.
unpredictable at every turn.
Yeah, I mean good and bad, But I have a lot of gratitude. I think that I feel that all the time. Like I said, like I'm still amazed people show up, or care. And that's genuine. It feels, it always surprises me.
Good deal. Okay.
Pretty earnest answer there,
I know. And that's such a good way to wrap it up. And from a jokester like you, like
I
sheesh.
know, I know. I
Yeah.
feel like this was a very earnest interview this time. Didn't
Yeah.
talk about bodybuilding as much.
No, but next time though. Well, but we got into the running regimen and I didn't know that you played soccer.
True.
So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I think we covered a lot of good ground on this one.
Okay.
Um
Secrets out.
yeah, secrets out. Sorry. Um Kate, it was a pleasure chatting with you again, but of course, before you go, I got some promo to do. So
Okay.
Kate's music is streaming everywhere. Wherever you get your music, that's where you could find her.
Hmm.
You can buy the merch through her website at kateclover.com.
Okay.
Uh, and be sure to watch those videos and the documentary about Bleed Your Heart Out on Kate's YouTube, which will all be linked below. And make sure to stay up to date with tours and releases and shows and all this good stuff by following her on Instagram. Is that the best place?
Yeah.
Great, which is Kate_Clover_. And the record is sold out currently. You're gonna restock on that, right?
Eventually, yes.
That's a good
Yeah.
problem.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But it's funny, like something good, and then it presents like a new, you know,
Obstacle. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
avenge,
uh
avenge.
and you're working on new stuff as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hopefully, recording it soon.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, stay up to date with that. And again, that's by following her on Instagram at Kate_Clover_ on Instagram to stay up to date with everything and all good stuff. Um,
Yeah.
Kate, thank you so much again. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Okay. I usually have the last word here, but you fucked it all up. Okay, we have to restart this. Okay, thank you.
Last word.